Hello, second grade. How are you doing? We're here to tell you today about how we're going to read minutes on an analog clock. So we're going to be reading by fives, and my buddy Maisie is here to help us out. So she's going to be with us as we go along. So there's two types of clocks. We have a digital clock and we have an analog clock. The digital clock is a lot easier to read because it tells us exactly what hour it is and the number of minutes are in, how many minutes there are. An analog clock requires a lot more math. We have to use these hands as they go clockwise around the clock to tell what hour it is and how many minutes are in that hour. So we'll get into that in a second. So we have our analog clock here. The first thing we always want to do is look at our small hand. Our small hand is our hour hand. So that small hand tells us what hour it is. So it's 3 o'clock because it's pointing at the 3. And then the second thing we want to look at is our longer or our taller hand. That's our minute hands. It's telling us how many minutes are in that hour. So right now, it's at the top. So this means it's at 0 minutes. So it's 3 o'clock. But these two hands are going to move clockwise, moving this way as they go around the clock. And then on our clock, we each have little numbers to tell us how many hours it is, and then they also help us with how many minutes there are. So let's look at our minute hand here. Our minute hand takes 5 minutes to move from one number to the next. So every time it goes to another number, it's moving 5 minutes. So every one of these numbers means 5 more minutes. So if we were to take our minute hand here and move it to the 1, it shows that this moved 5 minutes. It went from the 12 and moved all the way to the 1 in 5 minutes. So you can jump count when we're trying to see how many minutes we are. We can jump count how many minutes we're at by 5. So we can jump count by 5. So we're going to start at 0 out of 12, and then we're going to jump. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then 60. Because it takes 60 minutes for that minute hand to go all the way around the clock. And 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. So by the time that this minute hand goes all the way around the clock, that our hour hand is going to move to the next hour. It's going to move to the next number. See that? So now it moved down to the 4. So right now, our clock is reading 4 o'clock because our big hand is at the 12. So let's say our minute hand now jumps all the way to the 7. So our big hand went straight at the 12 and jumped all the way down to the 7. So now we're going to jump count to see how many minutes we're at. So at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So we know that we're at 35 minutes. So we were at 4 o'clock, but now we're 35 minutes past 4 o'clock. So it would be 4:35 would be the time. So now I'm going to give you another one for us to use, and Maisie's going to help us out by telling us which one it is. So we're starting at the 12, and we're going to jump all the way down to the 4. So now we got to figure out how many minutes we jumped. 5, 10, 15, 20. So let's see if Maisie knows how many we jumped to. Great job, we jumped to 20 minutes. So our clock moved again. Now our minute hand is at the 9. So where are we at? So how many minutes are we at? So Maisie's going to tell us how many minutes we're at. So Maisie says we're at 45 minutes. Let's see if she's right. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. She's absolutely right. So remember, when we're trying to figure out how many minutes are at it, it takes 5 minutes for that minute hand to go to each number, to jump from one number to the next. So that is why we jump count by fives. So when you're trying to find your minutes at each number, you want to try to jump or add by fives every single time, or jump count by 5 to help you out. So I hope that was helpful. Remember, when we're counting our minutes, we're going to look at that bigger hand and see what number is at, and we're going to count by fives to see where we get there. Maisie, you did a great job. High five. High five, thanks. Good job. See ya.